For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of like a more advice video talking about all the different kind of sleeping arrangements you can have in your tent really. So with me I've got kind of three main options. I'm going to compare and contrast across the three to really find out what sort of bedding situation is the best really for your needs. So the three main situations we've got here are the ever classic Airbed. We've then got a traditional kind of camp bed, alternatively a more, I would say, modern self-inflating mat. So there are sort of benefits to all, and generally you find that also there are disadvantages to both as well. We'll start with what everyone really is very familiar with, which is the classical airbed. Airbeds are, very good in terms of very inexpensive to purchase. They are packed down quite a good sort of small size. The problem is reliability. Now this, in my personal opinion, is really down to the design and the way they're constructed. Because you've got so many different welds located all around the airbed to keep it kind of in shape and as it is, it only takes sort of one of those to go, and then naturally we end up on the floor as it's become very accustomed to these days. And yet again, the other thing that you find issues with these are the fact that not only if one weld goes, you get a lot of leakages. So it might be just a case of just a little slit here due to PVC material breaks or a small little cut, or you bring it across fabric. And yet again, if it's like a double like this, and you've got two people, as soon as one person gets on it, you end up, or someone moves them in the night, the air pressure transforms over, so you get a very unstable sort of night's sleep. So you can buy dual chamber versions where they have kind of like a separate system for one another. Those certainly work better, but in my opinion, the whole concept of the airbed, it's just not as reliable as we want it to be. You can get these obviously in just the airbed itself, and then some with built-in pumps. Built-in pumps are quite nice, that it gives you the flexibility of using it as like a ready bed at home for guests to stay over. But arguably, probably these two, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, offer the same kind of thing. But I think you can't really beat it for pack size and sheer expense. If it's a first purchase, I think that works really well. Once you get down to a level a bit more of a comfortable campers, and I think personally it's worth investing a little bit more money into the likes of something like a self-inflating mat, or if need be, an airbed, a camp bed. The other thing as well, because you've got a sheer amount of volume of air, naturally there's a lot of cold comes up from the ground, and your body heat's got to warm all of that up. So that's one of the sort of, again, kind of slight contrasts of having an airbed. Camp beds. Now, camp beds on the other hand they're strong, they're sturdy, you get a really great height as well. So again, that's a bit of a bonus. And what you also find is that, especially if you're getting in and off it, you haven't got to struggle. Just because you've got a level of thing, you can actually put your weight through it, lift yourself off and go where. With an airbed, you try and do that, you're sort of relying on the pressure. And generally, with airbeds, we're meant to treat them as you inflate it to probably about 80%, then line it. Probably when you go to full 100% inflation, so it's really, really firm, and in line it as well, you're putting a lot of stress on the actual welds, which yet again just eventually causes it to break after time and time again. Camp beds, although are brilliant and strong and sturdy, they're not as warm as something like a self-inflating mat, and the fact that they're a bit more heavier and bulkier, just because there's obviously framework involved, but yet again, really quite not too bad, comfy. And then what you also have as well is under storage. So you have a lot of storage underneath the actual unit, so then you can put things out the way, your bags, and that's where you utilize that space probably a little bit better. You do have a little bit more, less warmth because you've got that sort of gap there underneath, and it is kind of a bit of fabric, but it's all down to personal preference. These are just kind of highlighting the points of contrasting it across. Personally, my favourite really to go for is something like a self-inflating mat. Reason being, they're a lot more reliable. Yet again, you've only got one single weld kind of top and bottom running round, nothing in the middle, nothing to perish. They use a slightly more robust fabric. Yet again, you've got less volume of air. I mean, that's a 10 centimetres. It may look not particularly comfy, but because you've got foam throughout the whole of that self-inflating mat, Generally they are A, warmer because you've got a level of foam, but also B, quite a bit more comfortable because it's like a memory foam. Depends on which make and model you go for, but it's certainly a lot softer. Even when you lie on your side in it being not particularly half the ground, it doesn't really matter. That's pretty more of a comfortable night's sleep. Yet again, because it's self-inflating, the way it's designed is you just open the valve up, turn it to, well, normally open so it allows the air to come in. The foam then expands, draws the air in, and as the name suggests, self-inflates. So there's no pumping involved. All you do is literally unravel it, open valves, and it will gradually self-inflate itself up. Generally, the first time you have a mat like that, it will take a bit longer. It may even require a few breaths of air just to kind of firm it up, but it's really reliable. Only sort of drawback really to those is A, they are a bit more of an investment, which, like I said, is not a bad thing. If you want to do it once and do it right, I think it works really well. But what you can also do is they are a bit more bulkier because it's a bit more material and foam involved in than your traditional airbed. So in an ideal world where, say, money really isn't an option, and to be fair, in my opinion, the two places where it's worth investing money in is, when camping anyway, is the tent. You want to make sure you're sleeping under something that's going to last and something be reliable and plenty of space, and sleeping on something. Good night's sleep is imperative, especially, you know, it's really important to get that good night's sleep. So in an ideal world, like I said, I would go for a camp bed, but with a self-inflating mat on top, or a sim mat as it's also known. That way you get the height, the structure, the stability. You've also got the comfort of the self-inflating mat on top and the insulation of the self-inflating mat. Admittedly, that is essentially two items which also is more money and more pack size, but if you can work it out, certainly with trailers and things like that, it works out well. And there's no need to kind of go down the extreme level of having like something like the Shangri-La from Van Gogh, which is, you know, for a double, best part of, you know, 200 odd quid. Why not compromise and go for, okay, you got your camp bed, a normal self-inflating mat, you pop that on top. Most good kind of camp beds now will have actually straps to kind of put over the top of self-inflating mats to kind of hold them in place and stop them moving. And that's the way you say you get the kind of the comfort level, you get the stability, you've got the storage underneath as well, and you can, when you want to push off, you can do. The only thing I'd always bear aware with any sort of sleeping that you're looking at is the kind of the height of the camp bed and a little bit of length. With generic, with sort of bog standard tents that tend to be about 210 centimeters in the depth, then it's not normally an issue. When you go for higher stuff, that's when it becomes a bit tricky, because the 210s on the floor to the back doesn't incorporate the gradual slope that comes out. So normally when the higher the thing is, the more it's got to move forward. With this particular bed, I'm in the Anatara from Van Gogh TC model, and it's 2.50 at the back, which means you've got plenty of room, like a camp bed. You can push that back and you've got ample amount of room in there. But it's always worth consideration when you are thinking about bedding which way you tend to go. What we'll have a quick look now, we'll have a very brief look round our sort of showroom and talk and sort of show you the range that we do carry in these three models if you were looking to go either way. So let's pick the camera up and go for it. So now magically we're in our inside showroom. So we've got here kind of a wide range of product that we have. So we cover all bases, like we saw when we were talking about airbeds, self-inflating mats and camp beds. We kind of have a varied range of everything on here. So we'll pick the camera up, have a little walk down and show you kind of what there is to see in the flesh. So everything from sort of your pump sections to your airbeds, and again we've got quite a varied range. Admittedly, we're doing this video in the winter, but it kind of gives you shows what we sort of stock all year round, from your pillows to your small trekking self-inflating mats. All of the self-inflating mats, we've actually got singles and then doubles located in these little self-contained storage units, so you can actually pull them out, try them out, and then really grasp kind of the difference between going from like a 5 centimeter depth to sort of 7, and that's the double racking there. Then obviously with the camp beds, we've got our own little built rack as well, so you can same idea, pull them out, try them, and if need be, try those on top, and it all quite flows quite nicely into our sort of sleeping bag collection So yeah, it kind of gives you a bit more idea about what we've got to offer if you popped in the shop. And again, trying pretty much is, the best way to work out what would be best in line for your own needs, and even towards the traditional kind of like bellows kind of pumps. Of course, we always appreciate your comments, so do let us know what you feel like you've got, and what you prefer as well in your own experiences of the products. But for more information on all the products that we've talked about, by all means check our below pages to all the airbeds and sleeping requirements.